Alright, so here's another line of videos. And I guess these ones are going to be a little more mgtow related. And this video is going to be about what I'm actually seeing. And I'm just going to be making these videos because I don't really see actually good. There's very little actually good red pill content that's being pumped out on YouTube. A lot of it is just propaganda. It's just propaganda and sound bites that people have heard from other people over the years, and it gets parroted, but it's not based off of actual reality. And hopefully what I can start doing is just kind of putting some actual reality that I'm actually seeing out there. So anyway, this video is pretty much going to be, I do not see black men with white women. And this is going to be a short video because I've got a real short drive here. But basically in this video, I don't see black men with white women. And a lot of people, this really kind of triggers them, and they think there's a, giant conspiracy to put black men with white women. And I'm telling you, that's not what I'm seeing, okay? When I go out into the streets, I don't see black men with white women. Yeah. I don't see black men with white women when I go out into the streets. When I go out into the streets, I see black men, and they are by themselves. They're with other black men, and sometimes they're with black women, but I don't see them with white women. I don't see them, in fact, with any non-black women at all. Okay, and I've kind of talked about this in other videos. Black men are quickly becoming like, the number one kind of targets as we move on to this Fourth Reich. And, I don't really... I mean, it's a little deeper than that, but that's how they're being portrayed as. And I'm not going to really get into some of the deeper things here. If you watch my channel, you'll know what I mean when I talk about deeper things. There's a little more to, how you get portrayed as enemy number one, in this world. But as far as the surface level, yeah, black men they're really being set up to be like that kind of number one enemy, and white women don't want any part of that. Non-black women don't want any part of that, so they're not really getting with black men like they used to. I mean, I don't know if some of you guys seem to still be stuck in the Clinton years. Some of you guys still seem to be stuck in the Bush administration years. But I'm telling you, that's not what's going on here, okay? There aren't all of these black men with, like, white women or whatever, okay? I have almost never seen a black American man with an Asian American woman. Almost never. Almost never. The only time I see blacks with Asians is if, like, the black guy's a GI or something, and he met the Asian chick in Asia, and he took her to America. As far as an Asian American woman who was born in America, I have almost never seen them with a black man. Almost never. And as far as white women, I almost think I used to see white women with black men a little more years ago, but I just don't see it now. Because, I mean, it's almost as if the racial environment in this country has really degraded in the last 10 years, ever since Obama was elected. And in a wartime kind of environment, it's the men and children, it's the men who are killed. the children are sometimes killed, and the women are sometimes either killed or, they're used as, sexual concubines, all right? And, that's actually what we're seeing. Because of this wartime racial environment that we've really been guided to ever since Obama became president about 10 years ago, you're seeing basically what you would see in wartime. The men are increasingly targeted, and the women are used as sexual concubines. And I'll get into that in another video. But yeah, when you see interracial, dating ads, what you'll really see as far as commercials will be white men with any type of woman, and basically, I've heard it said before, the entire world is a white man's brothel, and that's pretty much how it is. As of, the last 10 years, I guess white men, well, not the last 10 years, but it's gotten really bad in the last 10 years with white men, as far as them having problems with their own women. But white men usually, just as of right now, I would say they have the most problems with their own women. And when it comes to other races of women, they are a little more receptive. Maybe not as much as they used to, though. The whole thing with the whole world being a white man's brothel, that seems to be changing. It's not quite as true as it used to be, 10 or more years ago. But, it's still kind of true to an extent. But yeah, I admit, there has been a lot of change. Things have, really gotten a lot rougher for white men in terms of, being seen as, super desirable amongst other kinds of women. But, a lot of that they kind of do to themselves, when they vote in guys like, George W. and Trump, but a lot of them won't really see that. But, at any rate, as far as black men go, yeah, man, I don't see them with white women. I don't see them at all with white women. This whole thing about cucking is absolutely ridiculous. There's no one doing cucking in real life, okay? Hold on. Oh, man. Anyway, there's no one doing cucking in real life. That's not something that actually happens in real life, alright? Cucking is just a figment of, some white men's overactive imagination. No one's actually cucking anyone in real life. They aren't like black men who are being, hired to, screw other men's wives and crap like that. It's absolutely ridiculous. Some of you people may be watching too much porn. Some of you may just be, faggots, and you always think about other men having sex or something. I really just don't know. This whole cucking thing, it's just absolutely, it's a totally ridiculous thing. It doesn't happen anywhere. Anyone who uses that word should almost be just hit in the head with a baseball bat. It's just totally an absurd fantasy. But yeah, there's no cucking going on. White men are not getting with white women. You'll see it probably more in ads than you'll see it in real life, and you don't really even see it in real life that often. So you don't even really see it in ads that often. So of course you're not going to really see it in real life. Just look around, okay? Go to a mall, go to, a boardwalk with a lot of stores or whatever, go to a beach or whatever, in the next month or two. Just go anywhere where you can see, a lot of people congregating, and you are not going to see black, men with white women, or really any other kind of women. You're going to see black men by themselves. You're going to see black men with their boys. You might see a black man with a black woman, but you won't see him with any woman who isn't black, especially a white woman. White women, they know what time it is, and, they don't want to be, perhaps, Chinese handcuffed and, get on those cattle cars too. So, you're just not really going to be seeing white women with black men. It's not gonna happen. And, I heard some people say that when they do see it, the sort of black men they're kind of seeing are almost like the black men who almost seem like they would be kind of mixed or something. And, I can kind of vouch to that. I know a mixed black person who just got out of a relationship with a white woman. And, he's very kind of sandy colored. So, with these mulatto type black dudes, you might see it a little more. But with, like, actual black dudes, you're not really going to see them dating white women. All right? Again, in a kind of wartime environment, which is kind of what's been engineered here since Obama, became president like 10 years ago. In a kind of wartime environment, again, you're going to see the men targeted and the women kind of either being targeted and then some of them used for, concubines. And I think that's what you're really seeing here. As far as my video on black women being seen more and more as concubines, sexual concubines to white men, I guess I'll do a video on that. But yeah, man, this whole thing with black men and white women, it really needs to stop. I will literally see more white men in commercials now with black women than vice versa. In fact, there are TV shows, centering around white men with black women, like Scandal. Scandal was one of the biggest TV shows in the last 10 years, especially to black women. Scandal was like it was a guilty pleasure, and in a lot of aspects it was just a pleasure for a lot of black women. And, in Scandal, I didn't really watch it, but I'm vaguely familiar with the story, especially in the first season. And, I think the woman, she had an offer from, like, a black senator to actually be a wife and not just some, whore and side chick. And she turned that down, basically, to be a whore of a white man, a side chick of a white man. So I think that's really what you're seeing a lot more in the last 10 years, more so than a black man with a white woman. And whether or not people want to admit it, I think there is a little bit of a prohibition as far as featuring black men with white women in TV shows and major movies. I'm not saying you totally don't see it, but I just don't think you're seeing it, as much as you would see in the last 10 years a white man with a black woman, or just historically ever a white man with any kind of woman, being any race of human woman or really alien women or whatever. Historically speaking, really the king of interracial daters was a white man, okay? And granted, I'll grant some of that is kind of changing lately, but some of it is still kind of running through the system. But certainly I don't think white men do themselves any favors by voting for people like Trump and George W., but I mean, that's another video. But anyway, yeah, this is just basically counter propaganda by me, because there's so much propaganda, false propaganda by the red pill on a lot of false narratives and a lot of things that are sound bites that are just repeated by people over and over again. And I kind of felt like, I should create some counter propaganda detailing things that I'm actually seeing instead of just, memes and sound bites and, other sorts of, crap that's pushed by the red pill. So anyway, with that said, peace out. I'm out.